This is Josiah Plays Masquerada Songs and Shadows. Loving this game so much. We just talked to Calden after coming back from the Hall of Songs, after dealing with his particular troubles. And we had a nice talk with him just now, heart to heart. Let's see if we have anything new here. Now we're gonna stick with Vidoria Vim for everybody. It's the training room. Alright, so we're gonna go inside and I guess just hang out and have a good time now that we've basically handled business and everything's going well. I'm sure nothing bad will happen from here on out.
It's not sharp with spires. It's more of a tall dome.
What's going on?
Keep going. Salting. I can't believe I hadn't seen this earlier.
You've lost me.
It was the key to understanding Dementicula. Adaran Vamus, the first man who salted and retained a portion of his mind, could, during his lucid moments, read, write, and speak Dementicula, just like Vasco. He was the cornerstone upon which all research into the language was based.
What are you saying?
I'm saying it's a bridge. Salting connects the two souls, the two minds, the two spirits, whatever you want to call them.
It's kind of like what I was thinking.
It happens when we use the Masquerine's powers too strongly, tap too deeply into another soul.
So they're connected?
Exactly. And now, all the stories of the past are at our fingertips. Imagine all that we could learn now that we understand this connection.
Right. So what's the poor bloodling done to deserve this?
Vasco has claimed that he's had a few memories that seem to have been left over by the Dementicate, who'd been his Masquerine.
Ooh.
He thinks he can see what the city might have looked like. We're trying to replicate it.
Remember, bulbous.
I think I've got it.
And that's it?
Let me see. What does it look like? I don't quite know what to make of it.
Vasco.
I can make out a long tower over there, but...
Amadea, that's not a tower.
Wait a minute.
That's a man, with his trousers down. That's his...
Vasco! Please take
you
this
joker.
I only see vague images. Nalior, not enough for anything substantial.
I suppose it was worth a try. Rotten swine, you.
Well, now that everything's settled down, I think we've kept our questions in the shadows for long enough.
About the sunken star. Right. You'd best sit down.
Okay, answers time.
First we learned that Masquerines are Dementicate, and now you're telling me that they're Fae as well.
It makes sense. The increase in the mists in the recent years corresponds with the destruction of the hundreds of Masquerines in the War of Bearings.
It does make sense.
This is incredulous, Inspectore. The Fae have been around since time immemorial, and no one has managed to learn where they've come from.
Until now. Think about it, Marshal. Masquerines and Fae. Two things that have existed before the city was even built. Is it really so surprising that they're related?
And Lucia was led by one of them?
Is. If I could get out of there alive, I'm certain she made it through as well. But, yes. She's being led by a Fae they call the Lady. Being Dementicate, she has knowledge of the world that we haven't even glimpsed.
You said she's trying to stop another cataclysm from occurring.
She mentioned something about uniting the city, bringing the artifacts together. She handed me some scrolls about Dementicate history to read, but I haven't had the time.
I should really
Well,
read
now
those.
we do. It's not a long record. It explains the downfall of their civilization. In summary, the single event that served as the pivot for the success of their empire was a civil war.
Sounds familiar.
What was this war about?
The artifacts. For a long time, they were used by the Dimenticate to push the boundaries of their empire.
Which supports what we found at the Conoscenza.
But it couldn't last forever.
Not with the way the artifacts worked.
Calden!
The way they worked. Inspectore.
I'm sorry, Marshal.
Oh yeah, we've been keeping something
The
from you.
artifacts were what were responsible for turning the souls of the Dimenticate into Masquerades. They created the Dimenticate's power.
And everyone knows this?
Marshal, I wanted to
Everyone
tell
but you.
Carry on.
Tiziana,
Stop wasting my time. How did the Dimenticate fall?
when the artifacts were received by the Dimenticate, they initially sacrificed their prisoners to create the Masquerades. When their empire expanded, they began to turn to ordinary men and women instead. As you can imagine, that did not end well.
Uprisings?
Exactly. Their empire was cleaved in two, those who wanted to continue using the artifacts, and those that demanded that they be kept away, saying that it cost them too much.
Well, the artifacts are nowhere to be found, so I assume the latter faction won.
Correct. And that is when their empire began to crumble. Without the powers of the artifacts, they couldn't stand against the chaos of the world.
Chaos?
It isn't explained exactly what it was, but I think it is safe to assume that it's related to the Cataclysm.
If these scrolls don't mention what the Cataclysm is, then why does Lucia believe another is in store for us?
I don't know. But what I do know is that she believes that she needs to unite the city, and she intends to do that by overthrowing the registry.
Hey, our little buddy's back.
Just on time.
Kadek?
Sam Bel Ia.
Harish?
Sam Bel Ia.
The Assemblia.
It wants us to go to the Altus.
The
The
what?
Misted Isles.
Ah, of course.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
Of course.
Misted Isles. A set of monuments left behind by the Dimenticate. The Altus built the Assemblia around it to keep people out. Vasco, what's on these monuments that it wants us to see? Can't it just tell us what's on it?
Avar?
Don Sivnia. Santa. Atavar.
No. They're guarded, and he doesn't remember precisely. But he promises they're important.
It's all right. At least now we have a lead.
Tiziana should go with you. The relationship between the Altus and the Luca is the strongest of all between the Semora. It might help ease our way in.
Well,
Do I smell hesitation?
fine.
Better get ready then.
I'm being forced to take Tiziana this time. It's alright, it's been a while since I've picked her for my party. Case notes updated. Day 4. Alright, we're on a new day. Entry 1. 6 Sindera 407 IL. The Fae returned, and we, all of us, the truths are out, have translated the scrolls that Lucia has given to me. These scrolls tell us more about the fall of the Dimenticate than hundreds of years' worth of digging through ruins has. The Dimenticate were divided about the usage of the Terror. When they ran out of convicts to convert into Masquerades, they turned to ordinary people instead, and this divide in the society made them weak. They could not stand against the chaos of the world, which we have come to interpret as the Cataclysm. Though we know not exactly the details of this chaos, it seems to have been enough to convince Lucia that the time for action is now, and that is all that matters currently. The Fae I summoned has told us that we must go to the Assemblia next. It cannot remember what we will find, but its memory has drawn it to those ruins. Though I wish we had a better lead than a fresh Fae's ancient memory, this will have to do. Alright. He's got 3 points to spend. Do I want conviction? Do I want... I think I want to conjure an additional fireball with my Kinder Wisps. Paladin has 4 points to spend. Additional sphere would be nice. Let's take Sorelli's inspiration. She's got 4 points. Ooh, censure. Let's take that. Amadea. Ooh, yes. Stun the enemies with fissure. Yes. And Vasco. Force field duration and size for Void. Yes, Maelstrom for sure. Nice. We're getting nicely upgraded now. Nicely upgraded. Alright. Let's see here. Anything going on downstairs? Yep, I can talk to Amadea. I can talk to everybody.
Ages. It makes so much sense.
Talking to yourself again?
Just thinking about the behavior of the Fae. The way they respond to the old world, like the Kilgan and the Cleaver. So careful not to touch the relics. Or those in the pin drop. And the way they shied away from the statue of their god. I always thought they exhibited such strange behaviors because of some inherent power in the relics or something. But they must remember that the items were part of their world. For all I know, the Kilgan could have been my custodial predecessors thousands of years ago.
You're rather quick to humanize them. I don't think most Fae remember who they once were.
Not fully, perhaps, but there is a sliver of humanity in each. That's what the Scythe are. Fragments of humanity used as a seed for the Fae to be born out of. It might be merely a fragment, true, but still. I shouldn't let this get too much in the way. We have work that needs to be done, and I'm sure there'll be time. Later.
They are people too. Hashtag Fae Lives Matter.
Cicero, about earlier.
I suppose she had to find out eventually.
My mind has just been so overwhelmed. Keeping secrets seemed like the least of our concerns, especially now with tides.
What's bothering you?
Lucia. She's being led by a demented Kate who's been around longer than all our legacies combined. It just worries me what we're standing up against.
We've come this far, haven't we?
I suppose we have. All right. Chins up then.
Yeah, we got this. We got this.
Marshal,
Inspectore.
you know why I did what I did.
I do. It's because you don't trust me.
Yep.
I trust you perfectly fine. Your guild, on the other hand.
After all this time, you still don't see it.
I'm sorry?
You're a spy.
I am my guild, Inspectore. With hindsight, I suppose I should have made that clearer. Might have spared us both some inconvenience.
I don't understand what she means by that. Tiziana de Felici the Ninth. And so the truth is out. I have delayed it for as long as possible, but I've braced myself against her wrath. I suppose that's what makes her reaction even more surprising. She harbors an anger, yes. A cold, wintry one, but beneath that she is hurt. That astonishes me on 2 levels. Firstly, it is evidence that she cares. She's invested more into this investigation than I'd initially thought. Had this been just a simple mission on her part, surely she wouldn't have taken this so personally. But yet, here she is, her heart wounded by my deception. Secondly, and perhaps more surprisingly, I am astonished because I find myself sorry. It seems she isn't the only one who's invested more into our acquaintanceship than I'd first expected. Somewhere along the way, my view of her changed. Initially, she'd been a burden, a spy, a threat to be wary of. Now, however, a great defender, a compassionate woman to a degree, perhaps even a friend willing to expose herself. She spoke to me of her father, let me see into her mind and her heart, helped me understand, if not completely, why she acts the way she does. I do not think one can show, or be shown, such vulnerability without forming some sort of a connection. And I have gone ahead and ruined it. Now any trust that I might have built with her has been shattered, and that saddens me to a point. Still, though, she has not let her emotions cloud her judgment of the situation, as I will not let mine. At the end of the day, she is a marshal, and I am an inspectore, and we have our jobs to do. Except I'm actually not an inspectore anymore. I kind of got let go, but, you know, whatever. We have our jobs to do. Let's go back up and see what's cracking with Vasco up here.
Oh, you're looking much better.
Time heals. I'll be all right, eventually. I have something to show you.
He seems much better already.
Wait.
The bone whistle.
That's... Javs?
It has been a while.
It really is Javs.
I cannot believe this. All these years.
You're hurt. I'm sorry, but I couldn't jeopardize my new life.
Your life with the Laboris?
It seemed the best way to find out who it was that killed my parents.
And it's paid off. You've discovered who it was then?
Benak. Not just yet. But that is a mission for another time. A time when the whole of Umber is not at stake.
Why didn't you tell me?
I tried.
The whistles.
And the golden canvas.
And the sunken star. That's why you did it. Why you were willing to salt.
Yes. I couldn't leave you. Not again.
Ages. Where do we go from here?
First things first. Continue to address me as Vasco, please. It's stuck.
I understand.
And secondly, I do not see why this has to change anything. I am still in your company. We still search for the tools to save all of Umber. We keep going. That's what we do.
All right. Let's find these artifacts then.
Let's find these artifacts.
Oh, Javs. So I assume we're gonna get... Really? We didn't get a codex? Telling us about the story of Javs? We don't know anything about this Javs guy. Other than he's just somebody from... Reminded of an old friend of mine. That's it, Javs. He mentioned that, but there's nothing else about who Javs is or what the story of Javs was. I'm surprised we're not getting a story like that right now. Alright, I guess it's time to leave. Time to leave. There's the twins just waiting. Little tiny miniature burrows. Look how small they are. And yet they have big old things on their backs. What's that all about?
Hasn't anyone told you it's rude to stare?
Sir, are we really traveling with that thing?
It needs to follow us, so yes.
Does it, understand us?
Perhaps. It certainly isn't stupid.
Right. Well, anyway, where are we going today, sir?
The Assemblia, please.
Right away.
We've got the little Fey guy, so we have to take Tiziana. So now I'm torn. Do I want to take Amadea or do I want to take Calden? I mean, I really want both of them with me, but I feel like I should probably take Calden because he's going to be more essential to our survival than Amadea. So I'm going to take Calden. The Assemblia. The die right there.
You need to hide.
Comfortable?
Well, we can't have a Fae walking around with us now, can we? Let's go.
We got our little buddy Fae with us. The Assemblia. Locations 24 out of 45. In all of Umbra, there might be no better symbol of Altus pride than the Assemblia. Built but a decade after the Altus had been made official, the Assemblia was constructed with a single purpose: to keep members outside of the Altus from accessing a set of ruins they've called their own, the Misted Isles. The reason for this is simple, at least to the Altus. They're restricting access to the ruins as a display of the power that they have over those who aren't allowed in. Quite frankly, a vast majority of the city couldn't care less about whether or not they were allowed into the ruins, but the city's opinion hasn't often influenced the Altus's decisions. Alright. Do we know about... I don't think we've gotten a codex about the Altus. They're probably 2, 5, or 6 here. Get a new ink. Are these the Altus? Are those their colors? Yeah, there we go. The War of Bearings. Yes, that's what we've been calling it. Somebody's not up to date on current events. City's business, not ours. Alright, the Altus Nobilis. The Altus Nobilis, or the Brown Guild, is home to a vast majority of Umbra's historians. Most of them are too obsessed with the past to worry about the present, and this blinding obsession with history has come at a cost. In recent years, they have lost the respect of many in the city, especially because of their reluctance to engage in contemporary affairs. That explains why he didn't know what was going on. Yeah, it's me. Cicero Gavar. Sup?
Halt!
Good morning, Malleus.
You've got company, is that?
Inspectore Cicero Gavar, yes.
I do not think Va Preville would be too pleased to see you bringing a member of the White Spire in here.
I am here under the orders of the Judge Master. I'm certain the Va will allow this.
On your word, Marshal.
I said on her word. What about my word? I'm an Inspectore. Well, I'm not really anymore, but theoretically. This looks like a nice place. Very fancy. Thanks. Thanks for being polite. The Assemblia Reception. They have a lot of books.
Hello, Mother.
Mother?
Wow, it's her mom. She's in a wheelchair.
Please sit.
Isabel De Felici.
Inspectore Gavar, It is surprising to see you here.
I am sorry, but I had not been told that we would be visiting Tiziona's mother.
Does it matter who she is? We need access to the Assemblia, and that is that.
So, that's why you've come. Might I ask what for?
The Misted Isles. We want to see it.
Tiziana, even you understand that
I am here on behalf of the Judge Master. You will take us to see it or have him to answer to.
I can't.
Excuse me?
The Assemblia is occupied.
What in the light is that supposed to mean? Mists.
Those doors.
What is happening inside?
The Rediro. They've grown.
Grown!
Madeiro.
They're trying to break free.
Prepare yourselves!
Those doors are awesome.
We've got this!
Oh shit. Rediro whiff. So we have yet another type of Fae here. I'm not quite sure what they're made out of. I do know that we're gonna get the fuck out of this shit. Alright. Tiziana. They just dashed forward. Now we've got some fire tags out on some fools. Alright. Let's get the tinder wisps going.
Protect me.
Uh-oh. We need heal. Some healing happened. Now we're doing good. Let's light up some of these fuckers. Meteor storm. Maelstrom. Business handled.
Shades. They're enormous.
Var Pravia had gone to the Luca to make a request for assistance. We had hoped to contain them until she returned.
It seems you failed at that.
Isabel, we need to get to the Misted Isles.
I'll get the calendar. Tiziana, guard the door, please, while I determine the course we should take.
Calden, assist me.
Isabel, you and Tiziana.
She blames me for her father's death.
Zane, From what I know, he died of an illness.
10 years ago, while I was on a ruin raid with the Altus, there was an accident. I fell into a coma for 2 years, during which Zane tirelessly cared
Wow,
for
2
me.
years.
He stretched himself thin.
Too thin. He started falling ill. One night, just a month before I emerged from the depths of the coma, he did not wake to the morning sun. Tiziana thinks that if I had been stronger, if I had been able to protect myself, he would still be alive.
So she blames
It
her
was
for
an
her dad's
accident.
death?
Born of incompetence.
And she said this to you? That she blames you?
I'm certain she's spoken much about Zane. Is it any wonder that you have never heard of me?
I had thought that perhaps you might have...
Being dead, sometimes it feels like I might as well be to her.
Well, that's unfair.
The 57th route. I can take us through it.
Isabel, perhaps if you tried speaking to her...
I have. You think it is easy for me to live with the knowledge that my daughter hates me. On the rare occasion that she comes and visits, I reach out, but I always get burned.
But you keep trying.
Can I ever stop? She is my daughter, Cicero. And if words will not convince her, then perhaps action will.
What do you mean?
We should get back to them. Let us go. I know the route to take.
Us? You will only slow us down. Tell me which route it is, I can take them through it.
I am capable of taking care of myself.
You are not!
Marshal!
Stay out of this, Inspectore. Tell us how to get through. You are witness. If she slows us down, do not say I didn't try to stop her.
Marshal, she is your mother.
Does that excuse her from her folly?
Tiziana.
Where is this coming from?
What?
You! Poking your nose where it doesn't belong. What's between me and my mother is between us alone. We have gotten by for years without your help, and we will continue to do so.
I think she's being very unreasonable here.
If we are done.
Yes.
Just when I was starting to think you might be cool, Tiz, you're fucking acting up again. Alright, let's learn about these, let's learn about Isabel de Felici. That's, Tiziana's mother. To love a child is hard enough in this world. To have them hate you despite your efforts. I cannot begin to imagine how much grief that would give. I myself have never had any offspring, nor do I see myself fathering any in the near future, but I can understand the potential that familial ties have for both hurting and bringing joy. Though the affairs between Isabel and her daughter are none of my business, for their sakes I hope they are resolved. This world has enough pain in it already. And tell me about these... Radiro. The Radiro are among Umbra's only tamed fae. Confined to the Assemblia, the Altus Nobilis' largest library, the fae have been trained to fetch and replace the books that fill the enormous repository. Without them, the knowledge stored in the upper levels of the Assemblia are practically inaccessible. Typically docile and obedient, their hostile behavior undoubtedly has something to do with the recent developments in the city. Yeah. All the Fae are acting up, being different nowadays. Altus Nobilis Origins. Of the Simora, the Altus Nobilis is the oldest. Does that make them the most respected? Perhaps in their eyes. Like the Luca Infinita, the Altus was born in the 4th Canticle, and many regard them to be the first proper guild in the city. Perhaps it is apt, then, that the Altus concern themselves principally with tradition and history, having spent a significant portion of their past generating historical records to be preserved. In modernity, they spend most of their time guarding those records. The 4th Canticle saw a surge in the city's population, which was fueled by immigration from countries across the belt who'd heard about Umbra's wondrous victory over its fatherland, Altamir. The receipt of these foreigners to our shores spurred a primal jealousy in some members of the city. These were people who were concerned with preserving Umbric tradition, who feared that the welcoming of foreigners would pollute the pure blood of Umbrians. They stood together and formed a guild which focused principally on the preservation of Umbra's histories and traditions. So basically they're racists. Like, Umbrian power is what we've got here. Few in the modern world outside the Altus would say they have been successful. The tide of immigrants that rushed to our shores was scarcely halted by the formation of the Altus Nobilis. As the years drew on and the Altus realized the inefficacy of their ways, however, they instead turned their efforts inward. They created a bubble within which they began to fabricate customs of their own and began to look down upon any who did not follow them. They fed themselves the lie that they were superior, an idea that was essentially baseless. One might wonder then, how it is they have survived so long? What is it about the Altus that continues to draw so many into its ranks, that has allowed the guild to remain alive for so many years? There are none around that would waste very much time postulating, but if you were to ask me, I believe it's precisely because of the lie that their pride has grown fat on. It is a lie, yes, but it is a soothingly blinding one. It is protective, for it shields its believers from the harsh truths of the city. When death and loss lurk around every corner, a day spent attending one of their famous Altus balls might be in order. To forget the pain, to soothe the heart's worry, to calm the nerves. Even as I write this, I can feel the allure of such a life. But I must remind myself, and any who might be tempted to wander into their trap, that it is a lie. It is a bubble, a dream. And all dreams must end one day. Yeah, so they think they're better than everybody else. They're like the super snobby douchebags. The fucking country club gentry. Hate those kind of people. I don't hate them, but I'm disappointed by who they choose to be. These doors, though, again, pretty cool. The Assemblia Repository. There's Mom up ahead.
It is this way.
She's got a wheelchair with wings on it. With wings. Ooh, cool. The stuff moves around in here. This place is awesome. Now this is a library. This place ain't fucking playing. Wow. Look how high those shelves go. We're about to get attacked by Radir, aren't we?
What is that?
It's a bell station. We use them to call the Radiro to us. Ever since they've gone berserk, they've been swarming these things.
They're just going to keep coming unless we destroy them.
Isabel,
We do what we need to. I understand.
let's go.
We do what we must because we can. The bell station itself has a health bar. I feel like I need to destroy it because it's just going to keep calling more Radiro to us, probably. Yeah, there's a Mistral. Alright, it's got a... Let's get all the Tinder Wisps going. Get the Atmos ring going. Tiziana, attack the bell station. Actually, you can creed up. You can just attack the bell station. And you can attack the bell station. Now we've got... the ward, the cone, the fire dudes. Bell station destroyed. Now we just have to deal with these guys that are left. Let's stun him. Let's attack that one. It's almost dead. Alright, now we'll go ahead and Tinder Wisps, Tinder Wisps. Let's do a quick Hope Spring. Then an Atmos Ring. Let's do a Maelstrom here. Maelstrom's cool. Alright. Oh, there's one left. I thought that was the last one. I didn't even realize there is one left. She can now Meteor Storm. He can drop Axe over here. He can drop Sorrel's Ward. He can come over here. He can go ahead and drop a Hope Spring as well. He can drop Meteor Swarm. She can come over here and attack. He can come over here and attack. He can come over here and attack. Now that they're in range, let's get Tinder Wisps going. We win. Moving on, I guess. So, why is this a dead end? What's going on here? Aren't we supposed to be doing something going this way? Or I guess maybe we can't go this way now because of something the Radiro did. I guess we're going back this way. Unless something was supposed to be triggered just then. A plot event and it like didn't happen. Because that's kind of what it's looking like. We're ready to move on here. Oh no, I think I might be in trouble. I think something was supposed to trigger after that battle ended, and I think it didn't happen. Because nothing's happening and there's nowhere I can go. Alright, let's try going back to main menu. And then continuing the game. We might have to do 1 or 2 battles over again. I'm not sure where the... Yeah, we're gonna have to do them over again.
It is this way.
Or at least 1 battle over again. Hopefully, whatever happens this time, it's not broken.
What is that?
It's a bell station. We use them to call the Radiro to us. Ever since they've gone berserk, they've been swarming these things.
They're just going to keep coming unless we destroy them.
Isabel,
We do what we need to. I understand.
let's go. Watch your flanks!
Alright, he's gonna bust out this business right here. She's gonna run forward. He's gonna run forward. He's gonna drop Sorrel's Ward. She's gonna bust out the Sanction. He's just going to attack the bell station. Now then. He's gonna get Tinder Wisps out. She's gonna attack the bell station. She's gonna get Tinder Wisps out. He's gonna move up next to them. blast that. About to kill this thing. Alright, that's it for the Bell Station. Let's get out of all their nonsense. 3, go ahead and drop the ward. Go ahead and blaze this guy. That guy's gotta... Gonna get some of this. Double Tinder Wisps. Hope Spring. Meteor Storm. After the Hope Spring, attack here. Alright, they're in the ward. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's go X. X. Let's go Maelstrom. Let's go Meteor Storm. Let's go attack. Attack. Tinder Wisps. Hope Spring. Tinder Wisps. Attack. 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 Alright, cool. There's only one left. It's almost dead. There we go. Something's happening this time. There we go. That's better. It just bugged out last time or something. I don't think that's ever happened before in this game. Had an event fail to fire that blocked progress. That hasn't.
It is the other way.
Yeah, but there's a purple thing over here. I always go the wrong way for purple things. The Bright War. The Bright War was a war that lasted for 5 years, from 347 to 352 IL, which was the result of the Registry's execution of a vigilante, Tamara de Rossi, who had been organizing efforts to steal from wealthy merchants at the docks and distributing the wealth and the goods to the less fortunate Contadani. Even after the resolution of the Bright War, however, the Masquerada overpowered the Contadani into submission, there were still great amounts of dissent that lingered. The root cause of the revolution hadn't been solved. The gap between the Contadani and the Masquerada was still present, perhaps even greater than ever. And this continued to fester until finally exploding once again, decades later, in the War of Bearings. Alright. We've read about that before. In the history of the 7th and 8th Canticles. Another one I can read. The Miscela. The Miscela is the name given to a period in Umbra that began at the end of the 5th Canticle and stretched all the way to the end of the 6th, in which great numbers of Umbrians from the Rondagia came to live in the City instead. The sentiments that led to the migration had long been building, as the difference in wealth and power between the two areas increased, and once the floodgates opened after the Song of Crimson Tides, the streets of Umbra began to fill at an unprecedented rate. The influx of the city's population was so great that the registry had to implement a law to quell it, in which the settling of new families within the city was disallowed, for the city had, by the end of the 6th canticle, been filled to its brim. Everybody wanted to move to the city, and they said, no more. We got too many people in the city already. And now? Cool. There's a bell thing.
Wrong way, Inspector.
Good. Wrong way is the way I want to go. The Song of Crimson Tides. The Song of Crimson Tides was a decade of Umbra's history, 215 to 225 IL, in which the nation had to deal with fierce piracy that led to the deaths of a great number of merchants and traders. Fighting back against the pirates was an arduous process, but after a decade, Umbra managed to curb the piracy enough that the merchants could travel without fear. In the long run, the Song of Crimson Tides brought more fortune to Umbra than harm. In their efforts at keeping the pirates at bay, Umbra effectively demonstrated its power to the nations across the belt, cementing in them the desire to gain Umbra's favor. In their attempts at earning the goodwill of Umbra, the various nations began altering their trade treaties in Umbra's favor. Yeah, that was the time of piracy, and they apparently they whooped them pirate ass, and everybody learned that Umbra was not to be messed with. We're gonna have a fight here. Alright, let's get everybody in here. Now, let's get the ward. Now. Double creed. I'm gonna wreck this thing as fast as possible. I need you, Calden. I need you to get with the group here, so that you can heal. An award. We're gonna do a little meteor storm. We're gonna do a little of this. We're gonna do a little of this. Water balls. Water balls. Alright, Calden, another heal, please. Triple heal. Now we're all full up. Now it's time for the Maelstrom. And it's time for the Meteor Storm. Nice. fire dudes. We got this last one, no problem.
We're making good progress.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah, we're making great progress. We're defeating all sorts of Fae. We're moving along. Are we just going in circles? We haven't been this way, right? Another thing to read. Sweet. Dementica. The cover read, Dementica, a lexicon, by Davina Vamas for Ataran Vamas. Oh, this is a story about him and Cyrus. One of these stories. Okay, cool. Charming, Cyrus said as he peered over my shoulder. The woman was quite creative with the title, no? Masha gave it to me today. She thought this was an appropriate gift to try and get me to consider joining the Vegelus, I said, pushing the thick book away from me. You didn't even do that well for the accreditor. Exactly what I said. Why does she want you as part of the Vegelus anyway? I looked away and hoped my... By the ages, Cicero, how long has this been going on? You could hear the smile in his words. He knew. Cyrus always knew. I don't know what you're talking about. She's been flirting with you, hasn't she? I would never have thought. This Masha girl. It's why she wants you to join her. His hearty laughter filled the room, and it took most of my strength to hold myself back from strangling him. I shouldn't ever have brought this up. Be one of the Vegelus, eh? I've heard that the Conoscenza's filled with private pockets that no one... You're filthy. He laughed. I must say, though, what a way to court someone. Maybe intellectuals excite her, I'm going to bed. Pity she isn't here to join you, he chuckled. I never picked up the book again. The ancient writings that were found among ruins and on tablets were, until the second canticle, completely unintelligible. Many had thought, of course, that the symbols the Dementicate used and inscribed must have corresponded with the language that they spoke, which had come to be known as Dementica. Without any bridge between writing and meaning, however, the road to deciphering the language remained concealed. All of this changed when Ataran Vamas, one of the Valencios of the second canticle, salted. His mind was frayed, though not destroyed, and his wife, Davina Vamas, cared for him tirelessly and devotedly, despite his lack of lucidity. It was during one of Ataran's muddled moments that Davina, who had been the head Vegelus of the time, realized that something was off about her husband. She'd been doing research on the language, trying desperately to find some sort of sense within its symbols, when her husband came over and began reading the tablets and piecing together disparate pieces of her research. Initially, she thought it had simply been a case of nonsense. How could a man whose mind could barely hold itself together make any sense of a language long dead? Davina had no answers then, but postulated that whatever warped her husband's mind must have shaped it in such a way that he could see patterns within the inscriptions in order to make sense of the writings. Subjecting her husband to rigorous tests and further prodding, Davina compiled a lexicon of Dementica and spent no more time questioning her husband's newfound ability. His ramblings, despite what she'd initially thought, proved to be uncannily accurate and consistent. Though it took a long time for her work to gain traction within the academic community, considering her rather unorthodox methods, Davina's lexicon proved itself time and time again to be adequate in assisting with translations, and was eventually adopted as an official guide to the language. That formed the base of the research into Dementica, and since then much of what has been retrieved from the various ruins has been deciphered, translated, and preserved. Most of these translations reside in the Conoscenza, though there are others in the Assemblia as well. Assemblia is the other big library, along with the Conoscenza. Alright. Well, we're getting somewhere on the Codex entries. And we have the next room open for us to go into, and we will do so in our next episode. That's going to do it for this one, so thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Masquerada, Songs and Shadows.